So I'm going to try this little mini chopper blender thing for powdering the strawberries. So I have 1 bag of freeze-dried strawberries. It was from my batch 205, and that is, what, 4.5 years ago. We'll open these up and try to powder them, then we'll mix them with some powdered sugar to go with the marshmallows. Not real sure about those. Okay. Okay. So, bag of strawberries from, oh, that's good. Bag of strawberries from 2019. Whoop. And I don't know how much to put in there. A little bit more still, so I'll try this amount first and then we'll add the rest. I've never used this machine like this before. Wow. Wow, that's fast. Wow, that's fast. Okay. That does a good job and fast. All right. That's cool. Okay, let's take that off. Oh, that is a super fine powder. That should work great for mixing in with the marshmallows and for coating the outsides. So I'll mix some of it in with the powdered sugar that I'm going to coat the pan with, and I'll save some of it for mixing in the marshmallow. Yeah, I don't know how much I should leave for in it and how much for on it. Okay. So I don't know if that's too much to go in with the marshmallows batch or not. So I'll save that amount to put in there if that's what works. If I have too much, I can use it, mix it with the powdered sugar and put it on top, so that's not a problem. And I have my parchment that I used last time. I'm going to put a little bit of this on there first. And I'll save some of it for the top. Okay, I've got the gelatin and the water in there, so that's been in there for a few minutes. And this is the water, corn syrup, and sugar. Oh, and the 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So just like the previous batch, keep that going until it starts to boil.
I just had to come and tell you had Amazon.
Okay, so now 3 minutes. Timer 3, start. Okay, made it to the temperature we want. Let's get that out of there. get that poured out of there first. Okay. Let's see how much of this we can get out of there. Okay, it looks like I didn't let it set up as bad as last time, so let's get it out of there. Okay, it's about 7 minutes from when I started stirring it. Okay, this I definitely got out of there when it was a little bit warmer, so it flowed a little better. Now let's coat it. Yeah, gonna use some of the powdered sugar strawberry mix and coat it. And save the rest of this for when we cut them up, so I can kind of toss it around with it. Make sure that it's coated. And by using this fine sieve, I think I'm catching most of these strawberry seeds also. So we'll let those set up, and then we'll cut those up. We'll come back and see the strawberry ones later, see how they did. They sure look good, and the strawberry powder tastes good. So we'll see how this works out. They've had a chance to sit for more than 12 hours, so now we'll get them cut up. As I did with the other ones, I'll get that off of there. So as I did with the other ones, I'll add some more of the powdered sugar strawberry mix to help keep anything from sticking. So we'll try to get it loose from the parchment paper first. And we'll add some of the powdered sugar mix under there. Oh, I have the powdered sugar and powdered strawberries mixed together. And I'll get some of that down on the paper. Yeah. So this corner is kind of stuck a little bit, but that's the one that I got out last and kind of smeared it on there. So that's not going to be a big problem. Let's get this thing out of there. There we go. And then that'll have that edge that's sticky, so I'll just kind of pat it into that powder. So we'll get those cross-cut.
Today, unless you already went out and go.
We have strawberry marshmallows, now you can try one. Did you want a little one or a big one?
Little, oh my gracious, that looks more like a weather stripping you put in a large crack. I would like a
Yes,
tiny
but the
one.
ants would eat it.
Yes, but it would be funny for a while.
These are good.
I'd like a tiny one, please.
Pick out any one you want. Not that one. Not that one.
How about this one? Oops,
okay.
It's stuck to a bigger one. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying.
First mouth appeal, you get strawberry taste right away.
I know. Isn't this great?
It's very good. So how'd your stuff in the freeze dryer turn out?
I haven't taken it out, but it was done yesterday, of course. They puffed up ridiculous because I didn't, well, I'll have to explain that too. I started the machine right away. So I switched to the drying cycle right away. So I did not let the marshmallows freeze. And that would make a big difference on the size because it would slow down the effects of the vacuum because they would be more solid, and so they would just do a layer at a time kind of thing as it heated. Well, I didn't do that. I started it right away, so they're huge. The one that I did was like this big. Now it's like this. So I'd have to cut them so much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's more the size of mini marshmallows. And that will puff up to the size of a full-size marshmallow. Actually, that might work out okay. And with this methodology, not making them small, but adding some of the powder in with the marshmallow mix and then coating them, you could do any of the freeze-dried stuff. So you could have strawberries. I wouldn't do pineapple, I think, but blackberry, blueberry, green beans.
Green bean marshmallows?
Yeah. Yeah, you almost missed that one, didn't you?
No, I had to think about it. Beans?
Yeah, green beans, beets.
I like green beans, but not marshmallowy.
Yeah,
Beets, I don't think so.
yeah.
They'd make good color.
So here's a big bowl of the mini marshmallows. We'll freeze dry some of those. We'll freeze dry some of the big ones. And I think I'll save the rest of this powder. Well, I'll sprinkle it on all of the marshmallows first and then shake off any excess. And I think this sieve is small enough to take out most of the strawberry seeds. So I'm gonna sprinkle some of it on there, some of it on here, and we'll shake off the excess. Yeah, so we'll freeze dry a few of those, and probably all of the little guys.
Yeehaw!
Okay, I want to get a little bit more of this powder on top of the marshmallows. We'll bring these down and get those in the freeze dryer. Wow, those are freaking good. Not just good. We're going to put these in my sister's machine, and we'll leave a decent amount of space between the pieces so that we don't have to worry about them hitting too far or going over. Also, we are going to freeze them to try to have them puff up less. Okay, so leaving plenty of room because I expect these to get pretty good size, but hopefully by freezing them first, they won't get a huge bubble in them. And boy, they smell good. I better save at least a few of these for Lena to try them. Yeah. These bigger ones, I'm going to leave quite a bit of space in case they still get huge. I'm going to do a little test in my machine while those are going, so I'm going to save just a couple of these out. And some of the vanilla ones, so again, leaving tons of space. If they act like some of the ones that we've done before, I should be able to get twice as many on there. But I think I'm better off not testing it or pushing it. Okay, these are going to go over to my sister's. Then we'll do a very small test on my machine again, but letting it freeze to see how they act. And we can do a comparison. these, we'll go put these in my machine. It's still cold from the previous batch. We'll see what happens with these. So I'm just going to put this on the second tray or shelf down and let it freeze through the regular whole cycle. So we'll come back and check this tomorrow. The only difference between this batch and the previous one that we put in here is I am going to let this one do a complete freezing, whereas the previous one, I changed it to the main dry cycle right now while the marshmallows were still warm. This time we'll let it freeze. Now, let's go over to my sister's and get those marshmallows in. We're putting this set of marshmallows in my sister's, and we've been pre-cooling it already, but we'll just let it run through a regular full cycle. Which means, of course, the marshmallows will get frozen before they start to heat, and that should make a difference on how they act. So don't go away, we'll be right back on these, or on the ones out of my machine. One of them will end up first. So a quick check over at my sister's on the marshmallows. So these are those full-size marshmallows, and those are the mini ones. It's a good thing I cut them and made them smaller. Yeah, those strawberry ones are delicious. These marshmallows have been in overnight, so almost a whole day, and they've been dry probably for many hours. Marshmallows don't have very much water in them. They will dry extremely fast, like a lot of the candies and kinds of things are very fast also, usually just a few hours. I still usually put them in a long time because I usually am doing other things, so I just let the machine run. We're going to get them out and bag them. Unlike almost 100% of the time, I'm not going to bother weighing these because I have experience with these kinds of sizes, and I know that I've already given it at least 4 times as much as it needs. So I'm not going to worry about that. When there's any doubt, weighing it and then putting it back in for the dry check is always a great idea. This is one of the very rare times that I'm going to go ahead and just finish them. Okay, so we'll get that to the finish process. We'll open the drain valve and get them out. I also want to mention that there's so little ice in there that if we have something else ready to go in right away, we could just restart this immediately and not defrost it at all. There's just not enough ice to worry about it right now. Okay, there's those mini marshmallows. We'll bring the camera over here in just a minute. Well, those touched the top, so they're very snug fit. And over on my machine, I did lower the shelf temperature, so it'll be interesting to see if that made a difference. I went down to 80 degrees. I think with these marshmallows, I'd like to go even lower. The big ones are still hollow, and these are probably hollow also, but they're fabulous looking. I would definitely do these small ones again. Let's break one of those open and see what they look like. Oh, and I can get the thermometer out of this one. All right, so still hollow. And they're absolutely delicious. These strawberry ones are excellent. I'm just going to fill up some bags with these. They might collapse in the bag because of the fact that they're hollow, and we'll go check the other ones next in my machine that I did at just 80 degrees to see if that helped. Well, you can't put very many of those in there. They're just big. And I don't know if they're just going to collapse in there either. So we'll test them out. Maybe I should use a bigger bag on these. Yeah, probably not. So I will go ahead and put oxygen absorbers in these and seal them. I just don't know how they're going to do long term, or I should say I don't know how they're going to do short term. I'm afraid that as they shrink, it's going to break those. This is where having nitrogen flushing would be a great deal, because then there'd be almost no oxygen in there and they wouldn't collapse. So that is problematic. And I could, I suppose, seal them without an oxygen absorber and just keep them for shorter term, just months or a couple of years or something, and they'd still be fine probably. So that's all I'm going to do with these strawberry ones out of my sister's machine. And as I said, I left her machine running because there's so little water in there or ice in there. Now let's go over to mine and check the stuff in my machine, and we'll do a comparison. This set has been going overnight again. Oh, do we have all the lights on? Yeah, we do. This set was going overnight. And so we're going to compare this to the stuff that was in my sister's machine. They were both going about the same amount of time. The biggest difference is, well, besides the machines themselves, of course, and the software, the firmware, and the programming and all that, I had mine set for only 80-degree shelf temperature to see if that will make a difference with the marshmallows, or how much difference that will make. So let's get these out and do a check on them. The Oreos with the chocolate mousse in it, I don't know if this is enough time for them. So I will be putting those back in after I weigh them to make sure. With the marshmallows, I know from the dozens of batches we've done with marshmallows that this has been plenty of time, normally. But again, this was only at 80 degrees, so a considerably different thing than normal. I don't know if I've ever done anything as low as 80 degrees before. Let's get these out and get them checked. So I'll bypass the rest of that time, open the drain valve, and we'll check them. Yeah. 737. So I'm pretty sure these are just big hollow balls still. And we'll break a few of these open later. But it looks like even at 80 degrees, that wasn't enough to really make a huge difference. But again, we'll pop these open later. I'm going to move these around a little bit, put these biggest ones at the front, see if I can get them in there without any damage. So we're going to give it more dry time. Close the drain valve. I did. Continue. And I'll get it running. I'm going to bump it up to 4 hours. And I'll feel comfortable coming back and checking it in just 2 or 3 hours, but I'll give it 4 in case I'm not back in time. It's probably already very dry. The marshmallows don't take this much time typically, and the mousse I think goes pretty quick because there's not that much water in that either. But I haven't done it this way, and I certainly haven't done it with a cookie top and bottom. So I'd rather be safe than sorry with leaving moisture in there. So we'll come back and check it later. And also no change. All right, I am not turning the machine off though, because I'm going to do another test of another batch of marshmallows in just a minute. So as I mentioned, we're going to do another test right away. What I'm going to do is some of these same strawberry marshmallow, the little pieces and a couple of the bigger ones, and I'm going to stop the machine, reset it for a even lower tray temperature, and then restart it right away while it's still frozen. So let's do that. So I'm going to tell it no defrost, customize, shelf limit. So this is how high it heats the tray during the drying process. And I'm going to lower that to only 50 degrees. This last batch was at 80. The previous one was at 120. So we're trying to see if we can keep those marshmallows smaller. Start custom and continue. And I will let those freeze. I'm trying to, with commercially made marshmallows, they don't puff up as much as these at these same temperatures, and they have a more consistent texture inside because they're commercially made. They're made a completely different way than this. They're probably extruded and chopped off as they're flying out. These, pouring it out, you end up with more of a skin on it, and a difference of texture. The bubble inside is different throughout the different layers. Anyway, I'll make sure the train valve's closed, and we'll come back and see this one tomorrow also. The marshmallows I'm not planning on keeping long term because I'm not happy with the fact that they're completely hollow. But they could be very useful. My sister already took some of these and piped the chocolate mousse into that and then put that in her freeze dryer. And those will be kind of nice. So for now, I'm just going to pour them into here. And these kind of zipper bags are not going to keep the moisture at bay for very long. So if I want to do anything different with them, I need to bag them in a heavy Mylar bag. And I might, because we have some big ones. So we'll hold that for a little later. And I did already bag some of the big ones from the previous batch. Well, they'd all fit in one of these. These are 5-gallon ones. I don't need a 5-gallon one. I'm going to save these for something that I really want for 5 gallons. I'm going to put some of these in this gallon bag, because even though it's still zipper top, or even if I don't seal it, it's still better than this plastic bag is. This marshmallow test has been in there for over 24 hours, and with that size of marshmallow, that's way more than enough to dry them. It should only take 3 or 4 hours, probably, but I'm not taking any chances, and I was busy doing other stuff. So now, and these were super low temperature. If you remember, these were 50-degree shelf temperature. I'm going to go ahead and get to the end. We'll open the drain valve and get them out and check them. Okay, let's check these out. My only plan with these was to see what happens at the lower temperature. It looks like they didn't expand as much, but let's cut them open and see what it looks like inside. That's much better. Okay. Okay, this is much better. You can see solid, I mean holes of course, but they're not hollow spheres this time. Those are really lovely. Okay, let's try these big ones, see if these are hollow inside. That one looks like it could be. Okay, so that one is still, the big one was still hollow inside. But that one was not. So the lower temperature and with the small pieces worked great. Well, that's all I wanted to find out about these, is was it worth doing at a lower temperature? And they definitely are. Now we're getting the texture that I want. It does take longer because it's such a low temperature. but the results are well worth it. So the biggest one still had a large hollow pocket. The slightly smaller one is really good. All of these other ones so far are really nice inside. They're really the texture that I was after. So you can get a huge range of results by varying the temperatures. Nice, nice. So on this set, I had this shelf temperature set to 50 degrees. That's the lowest temperature that I've ever tried. 50-degree shelf temperature made a huge difference on those little marshmallows and how they came out. I was really disappointed with having them all just hollow. Even this one's hollow, but the thickness around the edge is much better. So it's closer. And the one that was a little bit smaller to begin with, solid all the way through, that's what I was after. These are nice. That's all I wanted to add on the marshmallows. So next time I do the homemade marshmallows, I will go down to a low temperature again for the shelf temperature and get the results that I want. Now I'll probably have to make another batch of marshmallows. And I was thinking about blueberry. Blueberry sounds real good for a marshmallow. Okay, thanks for watching and following along.